Muppet movie came out in 1979. I wasn't even born yet. This movie brings back so many memories for me of childhood and happy days. Looking back at this movie, I completely forgot about all of the celebrities that were showcased, like Steve Martin, Mel Brooks, Richard Pryor. Such a great movie, Max. Um, the part of this movie that gets me every time, and ever since I was little, I know the words to this song like I don't know, like my left hand, I guess. The Rainbow Connection, and it always brings tears to my eyes. So how about this? Why don't we use this episode to take a road trip back to the 80s? What do you think, Max?
I think that sounds great. And I love the Muppets. I remember the Muppet movie, and I remember everything like Kermit and Miss Piggy, and you went into all the stores and you could find anything you wanted with the Muppets. And I remember that cartoon they played after with the Muppet Babies and the little song at the beginning. So I absolutely love the Muppets. What a great part of the 80s. So we're going to take a little road trip, like Elle said, and we're going to go to episode 2 of Stranger Things. So while Mike, Dustin, and Luke continue to look for Will, they discover Eleven's powers. She really doesn't talk, but becomes reactive to certain words. And the boys soon realize that Elle can communicate through her mind, and using the walkie-talkie, she can make contact with Will.
Yeah, I remember this episode. She was just very meek and frail, and then they realized what she could actually do, and they were blown away by this. This kind of reminds me, though, of the movie E.T., which came out a year before this episode. And that was, I think it was in June 1982. Everybody knows, directed by Steven Spielberg. And based on some research I did, it became the highest grossing film of the year. Like Elle, E.T. gets lost in the woods, and E.T. finds Elliot's house and later forms a significant bond with him. He uses his telekinetic abilities to find his family and creates a device to phone home. It's kind of like how Mike and Elle's relationship is. Elle relies on Mike to regain her strength to survive and to help her to use her powers to help find Will and fight the evil and the Upside Down, the Demogorgons and Vecna. And for E.T., he needs Elliot to give him strength through the bond that they form for him to survive and to use his powers to find his way home. Pretty similar, if you ask me.
Wow, Elle, you're right. I never really put that, like the two and two together. But yeah, you are right. They are so much alike. That's crazy. But perfect examples of when friends meet and they become so close, and situations happen and difficult life happens, and before you know it, you end up with an unbreakable bond with this person. It kind of reminds me of our relationship, Elle. How much I can identify with this. You and I have, bonded over the past 20 plus years. When we met, we were both young and, at vulnerable places in our lives. And I look to see like everything that's happened since then, like for both of us, and just how much we've been through and had to overcome and where we are now. It just seems like, no matter where our past took us, we always, remained friends, and we were always able to stay close. And, I feel like we're bonded. Our souls are bonded.
We are so bonded, and I do remember those times where we were vulnerable or we were in very challenging positions, and it seemed like you and I were the only people in the world that could understand where we were in life. We were so young, and I just look back at the beginning of our relationship and the beginning of the bonds of Elle and ET, and it's amazing how kids can form that bond at such a young age to other friends. Um, we weren't so young when we met, but I think where we were in life, it felt like we were young and innocent and challenged and all that. And even though we probably didn't have much to give each other, we gave each other that connection, that bond, that sense of understanding. And I just feel like our relationship has been that way ever since. I always think that when you meet somebody who can bring out your light that could be hiding for so long, whether it's feeling insecure or just being in a place of darkness for too long, and you have that person who just looks at you and can see you for who you are. They can see your true colors. And it's so fitting, the 80s, that song, Cyndi Lauper, True Colors, which was released in 1986. This song is about that. It's about showing your true self and using your true self to help others and being there for others when they are in the most vulnerable position.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Al. And I love that song, and I love Cyndi Lauper. And I feel like they've used that song so many times, like since then, for different movies and, to represent different things. And when you were talking, I was thinking back to like when we first met and how it was almost like the universe like kept putting us in places to meet, and like we wouldn't maybe follow through with it, or we met because I feel like we met in so many different capacities. Like we were in school together, like, and then we had like an interaction through like a job and then a different job, and it was just kind of like it wasn't until like a couple of interactions that we really started to become friends. It was almost like the universe was like, all right, can you guys just do this already? Like, what is wrong with you? But yes, yeah.
Trying to tell us something.
Yeah, yeah, it was like getting mad. Like, hurry up. Like, but yes, the 80s brings back so many memories for me, and I know is for you as well. And the music was everything, and it was definitely how we expressed our feelings. And sometimes it was almost like the songs were written for us, or that we wrote them ourselves. So music was definitely a big part of our lives, I feel like, in the 80s.
Yeah, every time I hear a song that has touched me in some way, like True Colors, it just kind of warms my heart in a way that, not that I can sing, but makes me want to sing, or it makes me feel like somebody is singing to my heart. And I love that about music. It's a way to communicate things that you can't think to say or know to say or feel confident to say. And to me, it's so meaningful. So I think it would be fun if during our little road trip back to the 80s, let's talk about 10 best things that we can remember about that era and see if we can stir up some memories in our listeners. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea, and I definitely think we're going to stir up some memories for our listeners.
So let's try this. Let's play a little game, and hopefully whoever's listening can try to figure out the title and the artist of these lyrics. I'll start us off. Running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away into the night, and you put your arms around me, we tumble to the ground, and then you say. I think, I won't say it.
I think I know that one, but I'm not sure. All right,
We'll,
I got
we'll,
one.
okay.
Want you to push it back, cooling by day, then at night, working up a sweat. Come on, girls, let's go see. Let's show the guys that we know how to become number one in the hot party show.
I love this song.
It was hard to like not sing it, so I was like trying to just say the words.
This is so 80s. All right, let me try one. Um, can you hear me calling out your name? You know that I'm falling. I don't know what to say. I'll speak a little louder. I'll even shout. You know, I'm proud. I can't get the words out. This is definitely a heart song for me.
I know that one, and it's funny because I'm not going to say who it is and ruin it, but recently I was talking to someone who's a little younger than me, and I mentioned this band, we'll say, and they had no idea who I was talking about. And I was like, okay, age is setting in, age is setting in.
Iconic. Even now, like this is a popular hit. I mean, I've even heard it on a commercial with Will Ferrell. I won't say anything more than that, but because I don't want
Yes.
to give it away. But that's crazy. And they were indicted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know, but that person did not know. All right, I got one. Let's see if I can do it without singing it. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere.
Oh, I know
I
this
just want
song.
to sing the chorus so bad.
This is like the ballad to rock in the 80s.
Right?
I mean, it's crazy how some men can get that such high pitch. You know that even if you're singing this in the shower, you can't even compare to the pitch that he reaches. I love this song. It doesn't mean like I can't relate to like what they're singing about, but I love it. All right, let's try one more. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and America too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses, and her boyfriend too.
I don't know how you cannot know that one, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that doesn't know it.
Another iconic artist. I mean, I feel like I listen to this artist all the time. I think the vocals, well, I've stopped giving more clues, but the vocals on this artist are like no other. I've never heard another artist compare to this.
Yeah, they definitely don't have music nowadays like they used to. So that brings us to, all right, so number one of our 10 was music. So two is some of my, favorite things about the 80s was just family, right? Family dinners, family vacations, riding in the car with no seatbelts. My mom had like a station wagon. I remember like sitting in the back of it, like facing out. And like we didn't have seatbelts. The fun part was like when she took a corner and you went flying across the back seat. And taking road trips, like we're on our road trip back to the 80s, but when I was a kid, road trips were big. And like I mentioned at one of our other podcasts, I have some siblings, so we would play different games in the car to like help time go by. So we would play like I Spy. I remember playing that with my kids too when they were younger. Or we would play like license plate games where we tried to find a license plate for every state. So we would like have a list of the states and just make a list. So those were some really fun things that I remember from back in the 80s. Another fun thing that I remember, but I guess I didn't appreciate it as much when I was younger, was living expenses and like affordability. You could actually work one full-time job, one adult could work a full-time job and be able to support their entire family. So like moms or dads, one of them could stay home and you could still pay for your house and your bills and you weren't like killing yourself. Like nowadays, everyone in the house has to work to even be able to, make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, you could rent an apartment and afford it. You could rent an apartment like after you graduated high school. I think I was 19 when I got my first place. You could buy a house at a very young age. It's funny when you were talking about no seatbelts. I remember that all the cars that were in my family, they all had leather seats, and I hated in the summer, like, getting stuck to them. That was the worst. Like, I remember my ass, like, just being on fire, and when you lift your legs up, getting stuck and getting a rash. Oh, my God. Sometimes,
Yes.
because we had so many kids in the car, because I came from a big family, we'd have to share seatbelts if the car had seatbelts in it.
That's funny. And cars had ashtrays in them too, and like lighters. Nowadays, if you notice, like they have like the outlet for the lighter, but there's no lighter in it.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember back in the day having like my aunt like smoking butts, like banging out butts, driving around in her big Buick. They had like ashtrays in the back.
Wow, times have definitely changed since then. I don't even think the lighter in my car like lights. I think it's just a port to charge my phone.
Yeah, mine doesn't even have a lighter in it. Like it has like a plastic cover that you like, put over it, but there's no lighter in it. Like it's just to use for like a charger or like sometimes like I've gone camping and I have like a power outlet that you plug into like the car like quote unquote lighter and it like gives you power. So like they don't even have like back in the day they had the lighters that you legit like I remember my first car had a lighter that it was an 86 Toyota Corolla and it had a push lighter.
Yeah, who needed to carry around a Bic when you had the lighter in the car back then?
Right? Right? That's what I'm saying. It was convenient.
Oh my
I think
God.
you could really only light cigarettes with it though, because it was like flat.
Yeah,
It didn't have like a flame, it just got hot.
that's so crazy. Just, I think it's against the law now to smoke when there's kids in the car.
Yeah, it is. In Massachusetts, it is. I don't know about other states, but I think most of the states in New England, it is. Maybe not New Hampshire or Maine, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like they might be more lenient. That's funny.
yeah.
So that was number two, and then number three was just being a kid, right? Like not having a care in the world, riding bikes, going to the playground, like I like walking to the ice cream store or having like ice cream trucks. Like I still kind of get ice cream trucks sometimes in my neighborhood, but like not like you used to. And then like I don't know if you remember Elle, roller skating, like going to like the roller rink as a kid.
I completely remember roller skating. There was a time in my life when I could roller skate. Not now, but I used to.
Yeah, I'd probably break a hip now. And I'd be in a wheelchair.
Being on all four wheels, I mean, there was something to be said about that. But I don't know. I just remember feeling so cool being out there on my roller skates.
Well, and the music too, like, kind of brings us back to our number one, right? Because I remember the roller rink always had the music playing, and like, you'd get your song on, you jam in, like with your skates, and You know, there was always that people whipping by you. At least me. Maybe that was just me.
Yeah, I kind of remember they at the roller rink I went to, they used to play this game where who could sing the loudest, and it was always that Bon Jovi song, "Living on a Prayer." And then what they would do is they would stop the music, and whoever was still singing, they used to like give prizes for whoever was singing the loudest or something, and you like literally lose your voice.
I do remember that. And they used to play other games too. I don't remember all of them, but I do remember playing that.
Oh my god, freeze frame. That's what they would play. And then when they stopped the music, you had to like be in a position and they'd give a prize for like the best frozen position.
That's right. I do remember that. And you try to do the craziest like pose you could do.
Uh-huh. Yep. I never won,
Or
but I did.
or even just like playing outside until street lights came on. Like I think about that now, and like our last episode we touched a little bit about like keeping track of your kids, right? And like the Life 360, and I think about like being a kid in the 80's and just going outside to play, and like your parents have no idea, like they know you're in the neighborhood somewhere most likely, but like we had bikes, so like we'd be in like abandoned houses, like like looking trying to like pretend that they were haunted, or like we would just be out like causing trouble, and you just knew like as long as you were home by the time the street lights came on, like you were good, and nobody had a phone to call you or like get a hold of you at all.
Yeah, and I never not felt safe at that time. I never felt like we were gonna get beat up or taken or anything like that. It was just fun, and there was always so many kids, so you were never really alone. Um, it's funny going into vacant houses. I remember playing that game where we would take the remote from our house and then go to each person's house and change the channel on them and stuff.
That's funny. I don't think we ever did that. We did Ding Dong Ditch though, but people get mad now. Like I've seen kids do that these days, and people will be on Facebook complaining like, "Oh, some kid rang my doorbell and ran away." But I remember doing that as a kid. Like,
Yeah, I don't think nowadays I could handle not knowing where my kid is. Nowadays it's just a whole new world, and it's pretty sad because, knock on wood, well, not that I know of, the type of stuff that's happening now was not happening then. I mean, a bully was a bully, but they weren't like cutting someone with a knife or bringing a gun at 14 years old, or abducting kids. Like, to me, that stuff, it wasn't like that then.
I definitely don't think it was to the extent it is now. I do remember there was this corner store that we would go to, and like you said though, like there was always a lot of us, right? So it was always more than just like two. There was always like at least four of us, and there was a White House like next to the store, and there was a guy who lived there, and he was just kind of creepy, and he always had kittens, and he would try to get the kids to like come see his kittens, and like we all just kind of knew to stay away from him and like to not talk to him and like cross the street or not go see the kittens. But like other than that, I don't remember ever being like, and I wasn't afraid of him, like we weren't afraid of him. It was just kind of like everyone was just like stay away from, I think they had like, I forget what they called him, but like Creepy Joe or whatever, like stay away from Creepy Joe, like, and it was just kind of like a thing, right? But like you weren't afraid. Like nowadays where like I think it would be different, like it's just a different, like you said, environment now.
Yeah, because that creepy Joe is very different now. I don't know, what changed, and people, maybe we just didn't know about it back then, but nowadays I've seen posts like people just on their morning jog, and like somebody stalking them, walking behind them, and then thank God we have things like Nextdoor app or whatever, so that other women, young women especially, like if that's, who these stalkers are looking for, are out, like at least we're aware of it. So I don't know. I am grateful to have been growing up in the 80s and being a kid in the 80s because I don't remember worrying about it. Um, you know, what our kids face now is a whole nother story.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So, so just to add to our list, we didn't have cell phones back in the 80s. We had landlines. And when you were living in a house with 5 or 6 other teenagers and your parents, before call waiting, you had to fight over the landline. Walkie-talkies, like they use in Stranger Things, were a thing because we as kids, needed a way if we were playing a game outside, or if we wanted to talk to our friends down the street. We had walkie-talkies. They were such a big deal back then. I remember the movies. Who remembers Blockbuster? What happened to Blockbuster? Because they don't exist anymore. But that's how we got movies. You had to have a membership, and then you had to pay a late fee. I remember going there with my parents, and, they would pick out their date night movie, and then we would pick out our family movie, and then we, as kids, brothers and sisters, had to fight over the third one on which one we all wanted to watch together. Drive-ins. I remember my parents had a hatchback, a Toyota Corolla hatchback, and once in a while we would go to the drive-ins, and we would camp out in the back and watch movies from the car. I mean, I know there are some still around here, but that was so much fun, watching movies from the car and bringing your own snacks, and I don't know, just miss those days.
The drive-in.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple times during COVID, a couple of places did bring some back as a way for people to, distance from each other, but be able to still watch a movie. That was really fun.
There are some still around. I know there's one in Maine, and then Massachusetts also has one. Can't remember. I think Maine. Can't remember what town it is, but I know that they have one. So they're kind of like starting to come back a little bit. And then, like you said, I think some places will do like I know like some fairgrounds and stuff. Sometimes they'll turn those into like drive-ins for the summertime and stuff.
Yeah, to me, that's the best. Um, I remember because my dad at the time was driving limousines, and they actually had car phones. And if if you were an adult and you had a fancy car, chances are you had a car phone in it. And to me, to this day, I have no idea how they did it because it had a plug. It was in like the middle dashboard, console, I guess is what you call it. And it had it's just weird, like how it was powered and got connection and all that. But I do remember cell phone, car phones.
They were huge. They were like it was like a regular like it was the size of like a portable phone. I actually they don't we no one really has like landlines anymore. So like going back like going thinking about like the car phones, do you remember like portable phones? It was kind of like I feel like the car phone was the same size like a portable phone. They were like ridiculously big.
Yeah, and I'm just like in my mind, how the hell were they powered or got service? And they were only in like the high end cars. So it's not like you had to have money. It was definitely a luxury thing. Just like pages.
Yeah, interesting. I'm interesting how you're right though, like how they worked because we didn't have like Wi-Fi back then.
Yeah. Yeah, and only the cool people that had money had pagers, you know. I had a pager, but not until I was older. So
Yeah, more like the 90s. I had one in the 90s.
yeah, yeah.
But I remember using payphones in the
Oh, still on
80s
payphones. Yeah, totally
and like
forgot.
calling collect, and you'd like put like a nickel in, and you could say something for like whatever. It gave you like 10 seconds, and I'd be like, "Mom, come pick me up at the mall," or like wherever I was like in that 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think I can't remember last time I've seen a payphone.
Yeah, they're like non-existent. I remember I was somewhere traveling and I saw a payphone. I remember taking a picture of it because I was like, you don't see them anymore.
No, nope. And again, how are they powered? How could they connect? I guess through the power lines. But
Yeah, I was just gonna say it must go underground probably, like and connect to like the power lines, just like and then connect into like the regular phone, like land phone line.
yeah, yeah.
But still, like interesting. Well, number five for our top 10 80s is one of my favorites, which is funny because now as I've gotten older, I don't really wear makeup, but number five was definitely the 80s makeup. I remember the brands, some of them are still around, like Maybelline, Revlon. Wet and Wild was like another one that was like super cheap. You can get it at like CVS or we didn't have Walmart back then, like Bradley's or Ames. And those were always really cheap, but they were always really bright colors, like blue and pink and yellow. And we had the I don't know if they even still have it anymore, but we had the colored mascara. So you do like blue mascara or like purple. One of my favorites, and like I had to relive my 80s childhood through my one of my children, was the caboodles. And they still have caboodles. They still have caboodles at some places. So those were definitely one of my favorite things about the 80s. What about you, Elle? Were you a big makeup girl, 80s girl?
I loved makeup, but I did grow up in a house where you weren't really allowed to wear it. So it was something like that you could do for fun. Um, can't go to school with makeup at the time, which I hate it because I'm an artist and I've always just loved colors and self-expression. Like you, I don't really wear makeup now, and when you look back at the vibrant colors, you could be mistaken for someone walking the streets nowadays. And even like the guys in the 80s, like in the rock band, like Poison and Guns N' Roses, and I don't know, my mind's going blank right now, but all of them, they had hair just as wild as ours and makeup just as crazy as ours. And it's kind of funny if you think about it, because most men wouldn't be caught dead, you know, in the CVS aisle, trying to buy makeup, but it was pretty big in the 80s. Um,
Yeah. Black eyeliner, I know, was like a big thing.
yeah, yeah. But those damn colors were just so crazy. Like, if I was to wear makeup now, I don't know. To me, it's silly, I guess. I would probably just wear, if I had to pick colors, just more like natural, or if it was like a blue, like a light blue or something. But I would make it like blend to the color of my skin. So, but yeah,
Well,
flashy.
I'm gonna throw, you just brought something to my memory, so I'm gonna throw a quick product review in here. So I don't really wear makeup, like we were saying, and like I'm very much like you. Like if I do wear something, I just want it like to like blend in, right? I don't want to put a lot of work in. I don't want to do all the brushes and the blenders, and I don't have time or energy or patience for it. So I'm a big fan of TikTok Shop. Just saying, and they had this like Korean color changing foundation, and it's like, it looks like cream, it looks like face cream, and you just, blend, like put it on like face cream, and it's like foundation. And I used it for the first time yesterday, actually, and I have to say it worked really well. Like, it's very, I don't like things that I can feel like on my skin, if that makes any sense, like makeup that's thick. So like it was really light, and it just, like, it's literally looks like cream. It's like white, and it does match your skin perfectly, and it looks like you don't even have anything on. So
That's
I
so
just had to throw that
awesome.
in there.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I don't like that feeling either. I don't like the look of it, like that cakey look. And my grandmother, you know, when I was younger, she used to tell me to mix foundation with a moisturizer. So then it becomes a tinted moisturizer. And I found this amazing brand like 10 years ago. And it's by, she's actually a dermatologist, Laura Mercier. I must always say her name wrong, but she makes a tinted moisturizer. It's not color changing, but you know, there's only a couple of shades of tint, and the one I have is amazing. I don't feel like I'm wearing anything. It does enough just to cover up, the few blemishes or to even out the skin tone. And you're right, like to me that's the best product that I've come across as well, and it's very similar to the one you mentioned.
Awesome. I'll have to check that one out too.
Yeah, I'll definitely, we can add it to our Facebook page, which to our listeners is now up and running. So,
Yeah. We can add the other reviews from the last episode too. We haven't done that yet, so we'll have to do that today.
yes, definitely. And I'm sure if you were a kid in the 80s, you will remember the jewelry. Chunky bracelets, stacked layered bangles, jelly bracelets. Those were the things of the 80s. You were not cool unless you wore these things. And I remember shopping in my grandmother's drawer all the time to add to my collection. I was not like a hoop earring girl. Never really wore dangle earrings, but having big hoop earrings was such a fashion statement back then. Um, and I'm trying to think about like the necklaces. I don't really remember. I think they had the chunky necklaces, Max. I don't know. Do you remember?
Trying to remember back to like the 80s. Yeah, and I do remember like those choker things. They were like velvet, and they would have like a little like pendant, but they were tight kind of. And then I remember slap bracelets. Do you remember slap bracelets?
I do remember slap bracelets. Weren't they banned for a little while?
Yeah, they were. It's funny because a lot of the trends that we're talking about are coming back. Like hoop earrings. I wore hoop earrings. And those are like coming back. And I know like the stacked bangles are kind of coming back. And like back, I think maybe like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, those Alex and Ani bracelets were kind of big. And those kind of reminded me of like the bangles from the 80s. But they had, the ones in the 80s, we didn't have the little like thing hanging off of it.
I don't know if this is just like a something I'm imagining, but didn't we have those necklaces and bracelets with those plastic charms on them?
Yes.
What were they?
And they had like keychains too. Remember we like everyone had like nine, you had like no keys, right? And you have like 9 million keychains.
Yeah, what were those charms though? They were like, I don't know. They kind of look like come on, Max, you gotta remember. Um,
I don't remember the name of them, but I can picture them in my head.
yeah, and
I don't
they
remember what they
reminded
were
me of
called.
these little toys. They remind me of Shopkins.
Yes.
That's what they remind me of, Shopkins. because they were kind of like those things, but they were
Like little,
charms on these
yeah,
little chain necklaces, these
I do
plastic
remember
chain
those.
necklaces. That's so funny. I'm gonna have to do some research on this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then I also remember some of the hair accessories they had, like scrunchies, which I feel like those are coming back. Velvet bows, like oversized ribbons, headbands. I know I went through like a little phase with the hoop earrings, and I would take like a bandana and like wrap it around my ponytail.
What do you mean? With how would you do that?
You just like put your hair up in a ponytail, and then you take the bandana and put it at like the base of it and just wrap it around it and like tuck it under.
Oh, okay. I got lost because you said hoop earrings, so I was thinking that you did it with the hoop earrings. I'm like, you never did
No, that would have been interesting though.
that. Yeah, I remember the big bows. Like our moms made us wear those, and it was like part of the outfits. And oh my god, they were so gaudy. I can't
Hmm.
hate my mother for making me wear those. That's for sure. It's like bigger than your head.
Yes.
I can't wear a headband to save my life now. I get like the worst headaches.
I'm really picky with my stuff on my head too. Like, and it's funny because even earrings, like I just wear studs. I don't even wear like dangly earrings anymore. Like, I don't really use scrunchies. I just use like regular hair elastics. Like, I'm so plain now.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, I
studs.
love
I can't wear bangles. I don't like the feeling of it pulling. It drives me crazy. But yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, scrunchies are kind of weird because it like they're supposed to be fashionable, but I don't really think they are. That's my opinion.
I need them to like, they're not tight enough. I need something like, I feel like I can't get them, like, you can't get your hair up tight with them.
Yeah, they're definitely meant for like a certain hair type, I think. Not for mine. I use hair elastics too. So, like our hair, some of the styles back then um, didn't just include our clothes, they included clothing accessories. I don't know. I feel like I had so many of these, but those belts, they definitely had neon colors, but they had other colors with like a big flashy buckle on the front of them. And you used to wear them around like your button down shirt or a cute dress. And it was such a staple for like your wardrobe in the 80s. Artists like Madonna and Cyndi Lauper probably wore like those lace or fingerless gloves. I don't really think that I did as a kid, but I just remember being like a musician artist type of thing. Um, and I also only saw these in the movies, like the Ray-Bans, the aviator glasses, like from Top Gun and stuff. I don't really remember like people in my household wearing those fancy
I think
glasses,
those
but
were for, I think those were for rich people.
yeah, definitely. But shoulder pads was a big deal in my house, not just from my mother, but they were included in all of our clothes, and I hated them. I remember trying to cut them out, and I used to get yelled at because, it costs money and everything, but I hate them to this day. I don't understand why this was ever something that people wanted to wear. I think that, I don't know, Max, am I alone in this?
No, I remember cutting them out too, and sometimes cutting the shirt by accident and getting in trouble. And yeah, I don't know who came up with that like fashion idea, but yeah, not a fan. But funny story to go back to your Madonna glove. So there's a video somewhere floating around, not on the internet, on a VHS tape. Well, should I mention this is how old it is, right? So there's a video out there of Max, myself, as a 5-year-old girl in my red polka dot bikini and my Madonna glove, and I am singing with a microphone and all. My ad, Like a Virgin by Madonna. That video will not be posted on our Facebook page.
I will pay good money to watch this. That's so awesome. That's so
And
funny.
may I add that I also had my Cabbage Patch doll, which we didn't mention today, but I had to throw my Cabbage Patch preemie in there as well. She was helping me. She was my backup singer.
Yes, we're definitely going to have an episode about toys.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what definitely a whole episode.
Yes, yes. Thanks for the idea. That's so funny that your polka dot bikini and your Madonna glove. I mean, she could pull anything off, but shoulder pads, hell no. I don't think I could ever wear those gloves. They're just not made for me, I guess. But what was the other thing? Oh my God, jelly shoes.
They were so
Love
uncomfortable.
jelly shoes, but hate wearing them. If that makes any sense.
Yes, they give you blisters.
Oh my God. And we were supposed to run around outside and play in them. What were our parents thinking?
And then your feet get sweaty and start to like slide out.
I mean, what? The idea, like, they're so adorable, and like everybody had them, so you had to have some, but they hurt so much. Like, oh my God. Boys don't know how lucky they had it. They did not have to wear jelly shoes. Why did they make
I
them
seen them
so
in the stores a
adorable?
couple of years ago.
But it's like, they're adorable, but they're so painful. Like, I could never.
No, I could never wear them now. Especially back then. Going on, we'll go on to our next of the top 10. Number 9 is walking to the penny candy store in my jelly shoes um, to pick up some candy cigarettes for my video, my Madonna video. Um, and I don't know if you remember any of the other candy, L, but like taffy and razzles, and went back a little bit to the jewelry, but like candy necklaces, and they had like the candy bracelets too.
Yeah, it was so weird. We were just like eating candy off of our bodies.
And then it's funny, Necco wafers, those were like my grandmother's favorite. I remember she always had them, and like they're so dry and like hard.
Yeah, it's so weird that you bring that one up because my mom used to tell me stories about her grandfather who worked in the factory that made the Necco wafers and was part of the team that designed them. And, you know, I love the story, but I never liked the Necco wafers. It just, ugh.
So funny. And Pez, they still have Pez. I've seen Pez around now.
Yeah, I remember Pez.
And now and later's, I all I think about like half of this candy, like I know we ate it, right? But like now, if I ate taffy or now and later's, my dentist would be like, "All right, you need like 6 fillings re-put in now because you just pulled them all out with your Laffy Taffy and now and later's."
Yeah, the last time I had a Laffy Taffy, I think I was coming out of the dollar store or like Five Below, and it literally broke my tooth in half, and I was crying because when I pulled it out of my mouth, half my tooth was in it. So yeah, Laffy Taffy, you're the demon. But I did love Nerds.
I like Nerds. I like the Nerds gummy clusters that they
Oh
have
my
now.
god, that's so funny because me and my son we fight over them all the time. They're so good. Yeah, they're so good.
Yes.
All this talk about candy, I'm getting hungry. So let's see. Oh, our number 10, Max, is the best and most iconic movies. I think, you know, we have to just go back to E.T. I don't know if you remember, but when E.T. came out, it was like being a kid and watching this movie. It was like almost believing in magic. Not that E.T. was magic, but the idea of him was so out of like a kid's mind. Um, and just watching him with Elliot, like to me, I still feel like a kid when I watch that movie. I still get scared when they come in and looking for him, and they're going through Elliot's house. I love Drew Barrymore in this movie. She's friggin'
Hmm.
adorable. It just like he's kind of like a weird looking character, E.T. But I kind of just feel like my heart melts a little when I see him, and when all he wants to do is go home. Like I don't know, it does. It's I'm talking like a kid because it makes me feel like a kid.
Yeah, I love that movie too. I love when they dress him up. Like my favorite part.
The brothers, what, like the brothers' reaction when he comes in and sees them all dressed like up like an old lady. Oh my god, all of the characters in that movie are awesome. And then he has to go home, and I don't know, like I could just cry. I think,
Yeah, it's definitely a classic.
yeah, even like grown men cry because they remember it when they were kids. I mean, I have brothers that grew up with this movie, and yeah, yeah, great job Spielberg for that one. Which brings us to the next one, which Max knows I am a diehard Star Wars fan, and I think during the 80's, Return of the Jedi was probably like the number one hit. Um, I don't know, like I love all the Star Wars movies, but I do love Return of the Jedi because we get to know Luke's character. Dirty Dancing. Don't you just fall in love with Patrick Swayze and wanna be baby in that movie and dirty dance with him?
No comment.
No? I wish I could. I wish I could dance like that. I've always wanted to.
Yeah, me too. I've always wanted to be a dancer. It just wasn't in the cards for me.
I love this movie. I love it because it has so many actors that stood the test of time in movies. Caddyshack. I think it's hysterical. I think Chevy Chase is probably my favorite character in this movie. Um, it's just so funny. It's so 80's. It's not. It's really just so 80's. The way they dress, the way they talk, the way they act. It's such a funny movie.
I just love Chevy Chase. All the movies he's in are really funny.
Oh my god, he's just awesome. I mean, he's in the video of my favorite all-time 80's song, "You Can Call Me Al," and I play that song so much, and all I can think about is Chevy Chase in the video playing the bongos. And he does it with like such composure. I just love it. You remind me of the Babe. What Babe? The Babe with the power, the Labyrinth, with another legend who so sad that he's not here with us, David Bowie.
I love that
Remember?
movie, but it's so weird.
It is very weird. It is very weird. But just like I think I don't know. I think just like the memories that it left me with is the reason why I like it. I like the song in it. Um, I love the connection that she makes with the weird character she meets, and then when they say goodbye at the end, like that's another heartstring movie for me.
Agreed.
Sarah. Oh my god, I gotta stop. Okay, so the last movie I'm gonna talk about is Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was released in 1984. It was originally written by Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, but due to John Belushi's untimely death in 1982, Harold Ramis stepped in, and he played Egon Spangler. And something that I think is kind of crazy is that at the time, my dad worked at a motorcycle shop, and I'm not going to say where, and he was helping to rebuild one of Dan Aykroyd's motorcycles. And my mom and my dad used to hang out at the motorcycle shop, and they would just shoot the shit with Dan Aykroyd. And at the time, Dan Aykroyd was talking about this very low-budget movie that he just wrote, and said that it's probably just going to flop, but it's something that he really wanted to do. And it has remained one of the biggest hit movies of all time and has produced a legacy of movies that followed it. I think that's awesome because this movie gives me that connection to my dad who passed away almost 10 years ago. And even though he's not like Ray's character and he's not like Spangler's character, he's like Bill Murray's character. When they made the movie Ghostbusters Aftermath, I think it's Aftermath, they use CGI to bring Spangler back at the end of the movie. And it's not that I don't believe in ghosts. I do believe in spirits. I do believe in afterlife. When they bring Spangler back, the way they have him, the way he looks exactly like my dad the year that he died. And, you know, the kind of like the ruggedness in the facial hair and the grayness in his hair. It's just really quick. After I saw this movie, I was in a toy store with one of my kids, and I don't know if he was looking for a Pokemon something, and I just turn around in the aisle and I see a toy, and the toy is what is her name in this? I forget the girl's name. The granddaughter, who is like the spit of Spangler, and Spangler and their action figure toys. And I kid you not, because I bought the toy, but the toy is the exact same photo that was put on the card of my dad's memorial card. And I watch this movie over and over again just so I can feel that feeling of my dad being brought in like Ghostbusters did with Spangler. I mean, the idea that a movie can do that, you know, to use an AI generated, it's not a picture because he's there, he's moving around. To me, it's just, this movie I'm so connected to, and I'm just so glad that I do have that connection to this movie in so many ways.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Al. And I love Ghostbusters. I mean, not for, you know, the reasons that you mentioned, but I just think it's a great movie, and I'm really into horror. I think it kind of started my horror kind of, not that it's horror like scary, but, you know, just the whole, like, I love watching stuff. Like, I watch this guy on TikTok who cleans graves, and he has like this little machine, and sometimes the spirits will come and talk to him, and I just think it's so cool. So I absolutely love that movie as well. It's so great that you have a movie, like you said, that you can have like a connection like that too, and that reminds you of your dad. That's great.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they do it, but they literally bring him into the scene, and he hugs his daughter and his granddaughter, and he helps bust Gozer again with the other Ghostbusters. And he doesn't talk, which I understand would be really difficult and really doesn't need to happen that way, but it just, the connection between my dad and Dan Aykroyd and Ghostbusters as a kid And every time it would came on, all the kids would go and sit down on the floor, and we would all watch it as a family. Like, to me, it's just when I want to feel my dad, I watch this movie. And I know I'm going to bawl my eyes out, but I need it. I need to feel that, and I'm so grateful that I have these movies to feel that connection to him. Because, it's not like there's a movie for every person I've lost, but this one is. And never mind the fact that it's so funny. When they meet Slimer and you hear Bill Murray, it's like, Ray, and it's like, I don't know, it's funny, and like you said, it has some horror in it. I love that it makes you jump. And even like when they made the female version is hilarious. It has Melissa McCarthy in it. Like, you can't help but to laugh because, they have a comedic aspect to them.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy's really funny too. Yeah, all the movies are great. I agree.
Yeah, I hate when people give it shade because it doesn't line up with the original, but I don't care. I like them all.
Well, you want them to be a little bit different too, you know? You gotta switch them up a little bit. They don't all have to be the same.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And, I all these movies just make me feel like I'm back in the 80s. And I think it would be funny for some of the kids in today's era who would really appreciate that, having not lived the time that we lived.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that was such a great like road trip through memory lane and talk about the 80s and our top 10. That was so much fun and it brought back so many memories for me. Um, but before we end this episode, we wanted to share some information pertaining to a topic that we talked about in our last episode regarding missing children. So we had talked about the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We wanted to give a little background about that. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is a nonprofit organization that works with law enforcement. They distribute photos and information to the public, and they also have a cyber tip line where people can report suspected child sexual exploitation. So we can actually put that link on our Facebook page as well.
Yeah, and they also support families with guidance and resources who are going through, this really horrific and unfortunate situation. They also provide and offer educational programs and safety resources for parents and schools and children because obviously times keep changing and we all need to know how to protect our kids in these situations.
Absolutely, Al. And a couple other things, they also produce posters and alerts to promote awareness. So they're basically like a central hub in the United States for reporting, investigating, and preventing, missing and exploited children cases.
Yeah, and in reference to the Amber Alert, because I continue to see more and more posts about missing children, and I was trying to understand and figure out which ones were legit, because they don't really give you too much background when they post them. And the Amber Alert is actually only issued by law enforcement, and it's issued when a child is believed to have been abducted and is currently in danger. The request has to go through this whole process. They're called a state Amber Alert coordinator or system, and they have to meet a very strict criteria.
Yep, absolutely. And then once it's approved, the alert is broadcast through TV, radio, highway signs, and cell phones. And it's all, once it's approved, it's supported by the U.S. Department of Justice. And then again, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children helps distribute the information as well.
Yeah, and it's good because these two agencies do work very closely together. So when a police officer takes a report about a missing child, it has to go through these proper channels. So what we do see on social media, as long as it's coming from a legit source, which I can provide more as I gather that information, then we can, as concerned citizens, as the public, as people that wanting to help, then we can follow it through those proper channels versus, something that's AI generated or generated as a bait for you to click on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great information, Al.
Yeah, and I think it was very important for us to clarify that. I mean, myself included, I just wanted to understand because I didn't want to disregard a missing child. I wanted to get the facts first.
Yeah, same, agreed. And I wasn't really clear on the Amber Alert. I know we mentioned it last time, and I wasn't really sure, when it got issued. So that was perfect that we were able to get that information.
Yes, definitely. So in finishing, I just wanted to provide this quote, and I did not write it. It's written anonymously. And this is a quote that reminds me of my sister, Max, a soul sister, a friend connected eternally by love. No matter the distance, praying and cheering for each other, a friend who accepts your weirdness and loves you anyway. A friend who laughs with you and cries with you. The best thing you can have and the best thing you can be. Thanks for being mine, Max.
Al, I love that. And thank you for being mine too. I think support is so important for everyone to have. And, it's been amazing. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for us.
Until our next episode.